welcome to the Dr. Karin Show, where the mind, body, and heart meet the soul. I am so excited to be here with you in 2018 and launching such a great new year. We've had so many new beginnings happen. I feel like we're all going to really be up-leveling. And I have a guest today that's going to talk to us about up-leveling in a way that records your story. And in other words, you get to talk about how to be inspired enough and to have a breakthrough on writing your own book. I'm doing it. She's working with me on doing it. I'm writing 2 books right now, and she's going to be helping me. First of all, I just want to let you guys know I'm going to be doing a Mother's Day retreat again this year at Serenbe. So go to my website for details at drkarin.com. That's DOCTORKARIN.com. And you will find all the details there as they arise, and I'll be doing some other media appearances. So if you're interested in seeing me anywhere, just check in there. And of course, look for me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all those great places, and YouTube. You know, I gotta give a shout out for all that. So this is Alisia. Alisia is so phenomenal. You guys are gonna love her energy because she is not only obviously gorgeous, but she's brilliant, and she has the best eyebrows ever. I got so inspired to do my eyebrows. She says she does it herself. They are gorgeous.
Very true, yes.
They are gorgeous. So, you know, she has this great journey. She's going to share some of it with us. And I've been watching her on Facebook this year and seeing her grow without knowing her personally. And I've just seen her break out and really use her voice and really use like this kind of badass, like I'm going to get through and do this and break through and become who I want to become no matter what anyone else says. And I know because she has that gumption inside of her and that like just spiritual fortitude that she is using that to help other people. So that's really what I want to talk about. So this is Alisia Leavitt. Say hi.
Hey everybody. I'm so glad to be here. It's such an honor. I'm so excited.
So awesome. So Alisia she's not only helping me, but the reason that she's helping me is because she's the owner and CEO of Alisia Leavitt Media. And you guys like have this full service team. You help entrepreneurs write, design, publish, and promote books and other media. I know you work with all levels of people and that you have this extensive background. So like I was mentioning before, we just started the journey working together on 2 books I have coming out. And I'll just tell you guys, I am going to be, all things going smoothly and for the highest good, I'm going to be writing, and she's going to be helping me a book on recovering from divorce in a really conscious way. And it's going to be amazing for anyone that just doesn't have the handbook I had when I was going through it. And we're going to start writing my memoir, which is one of her specialties. And I picked her because I just really feel like her energy is really in alignment with mine and my vision for what I want to do moving forward. So I want you to get to know her, and I want to hear a little bit about Alisia. You know, as I was driving over here, it occurs to me that the reason why you're so good at clarifying and helping people find directions, and you know, she talked about how she loves when people hand them all of their like manuscript, and she just like loves to wade through it and work her magic, which I can't imagine doing. That would drive me crazy. But you have this like art and passion and calling to do this work, and I know a lot of it has to do with your journey here. So talk about how you found yourself with Alisia Leavitt Media and what it took to get here.
Yeah, so when I tell this story, people are they're blown away by it because, you know, you hear some people say, I always knew what I wanted to do from the time I was little. And I can genuinely say that I knew that I was going to, you know, help people write books or at least work with books when I was a little girl. I was like 5 years old. I was in my grandfather's library and he had this book. It was like a 1976 book of like short stories like Huckleberry Finn, Alice in Wonderland, and a bunch of other things. And it had like the black and white illustrations, and it was gold. And I actually have it. It's behind me here. It's
cool.
It was just this really vintage, like hardcover book. And I was drawn to it because it was gold, and a lot of other books weren't like gold colored. So I was like, ooh. So I would climb up the shelf, get this book down, and I would read it hiding behind his rocker.
Aww.
And I would just be like, I mean, I was, you know, not an expert reader at 5, but I definitely had a passion for it. And I just had this connection. It was like this magic. And ever since then, like everybody knew that I was like the writer. I was always, writing little books and stapling them together, or, when they had like the book fairs in elementary school, I would be the one that the order would come in and I would have like 2 boxes of books that were just like for me.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I followed that passion, despite people saying, well, how are you really going to make a living as a writer, as a creative? There's this starving artist kind of stigma out there that is attached whenever anyone gets into this field. And so I really said, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it in a way that like works for me. And I'm going to go out there and make money and doing what I love. And I'm going to show everybody that it is possible. So I went to I went to college. I did my undergrad in English, and my family was like, oh, it's just such a waste of money.
Right. Just to get the business degree. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And like, go be a doctor or a lawyer, do the business degree, do the MBA.
Yeah.
And I started just really, I was doing lots of little writing projects, freelancing, and doing side jobs, just to try to like build up my name, my credibility. And I got my very first break as a copywriter. So I was like, if anybody watches Mad Men, I was like Peggy Olson. I was like this junior copywriter at this really great ad agency in Portland, Maine, and I was mentored by a fabulous woman who had actually worked during the Mad Men era, like
neat.
in New York City.
Yeah.
And I quickly knew that I wanted to transition into, I wanted to go to grad school. I wanted to get an MFA in creative writing. So I worked, I went to school, and I juggled my first grad program. I landed a job in publishing. And then I decided to go get a second master's degree. So I got a second master's in publishing by the recommendation of someone who's really well known in the industry. And he saw that I had this hunger to learn the business and really to make my own business out of it.
Right.
So I did that. I surrounded myself with every notable person I could think of, and I just kept learning. And then I pulled the trigger one day and I said, you know what? That's it. Like, I'm going to go out full time on my own and just really start doing this. So here I am years later, full client roster, and I'm working with entrepreneurs, public influencers, people, ranging from very spiritual wellness type influencers to therapists and, people a little more in the medical field. There's a really nice, diverse client base that I have. And like you said, my strength is taking material. If people have been writing for years and they just don't know what to do with it, my strength is to take all of that and make a story out of it and really shape that message. But at the same time, I want to teach them everything I know about being a successful author, being confident and empowered and aligned with your message. And also how to monetize that, how to go out and make money, how to be in the public and get some real traction from it. Yeah. So I went from being just myself to creating a whole team now. So I have other book coaches with me. I have, a book designer, a videographer. I have a marketing person. So I'm really proud of where I am, and I'm just so happy to work with you on your books. I mean, this is going to be an amazing journey. So
I love it. And I can hear your cat, but don't tell her. Is it a girl? So cute. I was talking about. She said you might hear my cat in the back because you kind of locked her out of the room.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Mama."
Whenever I live stream on Facebook, everybody knows my younger cat, Luna. She is a ham. She has to be right in front of the camera, like crawling all over me. And if she can't, she gets so frustrated.
That is so funny.
But I banned Luna today because she'd be all over everything.
Yeah, I understand, but it's so cute. So that's what you hear. There's not a person locked in a closet. It is a cat in the hallway going, "Let me in. I'm the screen star." That is so cute. So that is, how long when did you launch your media company?
It was years ago. I mean, it was unofficial. I think all the way back in I think it was 2006, I started doing
long time,
little side projects, and then I just kept I didn't actually really claim my title as a book coach, even though friends were like, "Yeah, you're a book coach," and I was like, "I'm still getting there," you know.
Yeah.
And then things really, really, really picked up in like 2013. So 2013 on like has been just exponential growth, like
So
traveling,
awesome.
being with clients in person. I have clients now around the world globally. It's
I saw that you're working with a lot of other, yeah, people in other countries, and that's, it just speaks so much to people that are really trying to launch, like you've talked about, this creative venture, and I love that it ties directly into your work because you've lived that path of people saying, what are you doing? Like nobody makes money in this and that, and learning to monetize it, and you've studied the business. You're not just like coming in here winging it. I mean, you have gone to school, you've gotten your 2 master's degrees, and all the dimensions of it. So I really wanted to talk with Alisia today about, like, because I know a lot of you guys want to write your story, and I love what you said about that you have like pieces that you've written and you're not sure what to do with, because I think that makes people feel good. Because I know for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, last night even when I was looking up for stuff to send you, I was like, oh my gosh, I totally started writing a memoir like 8 years ago and I totally forgot about it. And I'm like, let's look at this, and then I'm thinking, how am I going to, for me to have to make sense of putting all that together? And as you know, this is why she's so valuable. I'm so overwhelmed. Like and when it's your stuff, it's kind of like, I can go and clean somebody else's closet and like be a master, but with my own closet, I'm like frozen. Like, I don't, so she's the one that can come in and do it. And so I want to talk about what you know about being a creative and how we can get stuck and not be able to have that breakthrough moment. So what we talked about is going from feeling blocked to getting through the breakthrough of being able to write your own book. So talk about what you know about being stuck and how people can move to being unstuck.
Yeah. And to just touch on what you said about, like my natural ability, I think it is very much natural ability. But being in the industry, actually working in publishing, it really affords my clients an experience that they don't necessarily get with other book coaching professionals. I think there's a huge difference between working with someone who's been inside and who knows
Oh, huge.
marketing, who knows, I'm a writer, I'm a ghostwriter as well, but I'm also an editor, and I've served in the editorial capacity on many different levels, in addition to working in marketing and social media with authors. So it's this like really nice, well-rounded skill set. So it's very easy for me to look at something and say, okay, this, and this need to go together this way, like puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
But for people who, maybe have thought about doing a book, or they have material right now, there are so many myths associated with publishing and the industry that it scares people. It keeps them from actually like moving forward with it. I think one of the most common things I hear is like, who am I to do this? Like, I'm not really anybody that important. I'm not
Right.
I'm not a celebrity, or I don't have a lot of, Facebook followers or whatever. And
Yep.
who's going to really find my story interesting? Or they say, well, so-and-so wrote about this same topic. And
Yeah.
so I would just be saying the same thing. And that's a big myth, because nobody can say it the same way that you say it. And
Yep.
we all have our own unique journey, especially if you're, on a spiritual path in your spiritual evolution. You really have to pay attention to the message that's like tugging at your heartstrings, because anyone who identifies as a light worker or a spiritual person knows that we are here for a reason, and that's to help shift the consciousness, to bring in healing, and to help open other people up to that. So now more than ever, it's very important to pay attention to those urges that we're getting to share our stories of, of even if it's trauma, if it's grief, that brings healing to other people. And my theory is that we act as mirrors for other people.
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes someone else reading your story, even if they've been through the same thing. It takes them to read your story so that they can realize, oh, that's me. And they have shifts, and it just is a phenomenal thing. So if people have material or they have an idea, I encourage you to really like connect with your heart space. Like, people get very mental they overthink
Yeah,
things.
yeah, everyone.
Yeah, and really just connect to your heart and get quiet and listen to what it is that feels like the next right move for you. That paired with baby steps, like you're not going to write an entire book in a day or a month,
Right.
really set tangible goals for yourself. Block out time either every day or every week where you can devote that time to your writing and treat that as a form of self-care. That's a big thing.
It's
If you have
huge.
that
Yep.
creative urge, you have to be, listening to that, because if you don't, you just feel like all that energy gets, bottled up, and you want to keep that energy moving through.
Gosh, that's so, I love the way you're describing it because we've
Yeah.
talked several times on the phone, but I haven't heard it put that way. And I love, you're tapping in. Most of our audience is super spiritual, and you know that. And so I love that you're talking about this coming through because it is. You're right. Like it's calling you, and it's there for a reason, right? And like I love how you're saying, we need to answer this call because your story can be the identifiable step for somebody else that relates to you to get them unstuck. And you have no idea, but I agree. Like as I'm considering writing, and I'm always writing, just like you, and it's like you do have that moment where you think, yeah, but somebody else has already done it. But I remember hearing that at one seminar I went to, and it's always stuck with me. But nobody's ever said it in your voice. And so someone like Alisia helps you find that voice and to say it in another way because your story stands alone, and when you have that calling to share it. And I think too, like when you're saying lead from your heart, that's actually what I had a lot of prayer on this morning, was not pushing all that fear out of the way and really leading with your heart. Like talk about why. I want to hear this from you because I have my opinion on it, but you're putting things so beautifully. Why leading with your heart? Why is that so important? Why is that such an important nugget to help people find the completion of this?
Yeah. Well, you hear the term writer's block, and people have different definitions of writer's block, and some people don't even think it's real. But, getting back to the whole mind versus heart connection, I really think that writer's block is when you have sort of blocked your heart chakra from giving you that guidance. So it is shifting from mind down to heart. And it's important to really be in that heart space because that's when you have a very clear channel, like you are the vessel. I believe that creation is the most natural thing out there. It's as natural as breathing. We just have to allow ourselves to trust and to sort of get swept up into that divine energy of the universe. And also it's alchemy, right? There is a natural alchemy that occurs when you can be vulnerable enough to just sit with yourself and that blank page, which can be very scary for people because they put a lot of pressure on themselves and they don't need to. Getting into your heart space is important. You want to have fun. You want to have fun when you're doing it. So, writers create in different ways, and you don't have to feel like you're defined by a certain way. You don't have to write every day. Some people think I have to write every day. You don't. You might be a writer who wants to write on the weekends, or you write at night, or you have to be in a actually a loud place like a cafe. I have other clients who have to be every day in a quiet room. You have to find your own style of writing and creating, and you have to trust that. And you also have to be willing to allow yourself to step into your greatness. So step into
Huge. That's so huge.
stepping into your greatness and know that because you are the vessel, you are strong enough and you are good enough, you are worthy enough to hold the message that's coming through. And that's why if you're in your heart space, it's gonna flow through. It's gonna be this watershed of I've started to write and now it keeps coming and I don't know where it's coming from,
Right.
and you go back and read what you've written and you're like, I don't remember that. It's like you're channeling almost.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, mostly we usually are. We just
Yeah.
aren't fully aware of it, right? And
Yeah.
I love, how did you, I'm just curious personally, I would imagine other people are, how did you get this tapped in spiritually? Because your journey is very logical. I mean, you've got a lot of school and you're obviously very entrepreneurial and you were doing this, but to have this other side with it. That's why I'm so excited about working with you, because I think it can be hard to find. I think we're all very capable of having both, and we all have both inside of us. It's a matter of nurturing both sides. But how did you expand your consciousness so broadly or
I've
deeply?
always been a thinker. I have this analytical side where I'm very observant, and I've always just studied people and places and things, and they became characters or settings, in stories that I would write. And part of being that observer, I have a natural connection to nature. I'm a Leo, so I love the sun. The sun for me is, a source of like really, really good energy.
Jesse and I are Leos. When's your birthday?
August 9th.
Shut the F up. Are you kidding me?
It's the second time.
It's the second time. That's my birthday.
Okay,
That
so
is so crazy. This happened. Do you know Danielle Mercurio?
yeah, I was just gonna say I saw your comment on her Instagram yesterday. So
We-
we're like the Leo triplets.
I'm not kidding. And she's August 9th.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, that is insane. Okay, that's so funny. You heard it here. How crazy is that? No coincidences. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm a Leo. I was talking about myself for a minute. Jesse and I laugh because he's a Leo too, so this comes up. Sorry, back to you.
Amazing. Yeah. I've just always had just this connection to nature and the natural elements. And when I was around 26, 27, I had this complete like spiritual like awakening. I went through like this dark night of the soul, which is pretty common for people. And then had this complete awakening, and it happened very fast. So it actually happened through studying energy and Reiki. So going through my first Reiki attunements, and then eventually becoming a Reiki master, which I do a lot of that work with my clients. I bring in that energy work with their books.
Oh, yeah.
It was so quick. It was within, I would say, 1.5 to 2 years that I really, really was on a different level of consciousness. And then I think the thing that really broke me open in terms of my business was going to Gabrielle Bernstein's Spirit Junkie Masterclass, where that I tapped into my spiritual client base through her, and just sort of became the unofficial book coach for Spirit Junkies. And so,
I mean, that's awesome.
yeah, I mean, at one time, I think 90% of my clients came from the Gabrielle Bernstein world, and they still do.
Yeah.
But now I'm branching out and working with more people. So yeah, it's when it happens, it's just like the shifts keep coming and things keep showing up on your path. There's always like the universe always gives you these little like signs and hints of like what's coming and what you need to do, and learning to trust that is very important. And that can be applied to when you're writing your book as well. I really try to help my clients understand their own intuitive connection to their work, and to really lean into that, and to not second guess it.
Yep. That's one of the main things I'm always teaching too. And I think, it's just, I mean, we all have it, but it's like we do second guess it. But to have someone like you not come in as the authority, but you're a source of information, and you've got this multi-layer of experience where you can give very wise advice and input, but to open that up for somebody is so amazing. I mean, I've worked with other editors, and I've worked with great editors, but I haven't had that piece yet. And I'm just like, it's so exciting, because then, the alignment piece, for someone to know that you work with and to be drawn to that. So those of you that are looking for someone to help, you're feeling connected to Alisia. I just think you're such the real deal. And she's got this wonderful team. So you guys can go to her website, and we're going to put it up on the screen. I love doing this because Jesse's going to put it up on the screen when the show comes out. And so as you can see, her name is Alisia Leavitt. Is that right? She has this beautiful media company, and you can scroll and look at her team. And I was so excited when I was looking at your team, because there is such a depth and breadth of talent there, and experience. And like Alicia's talking about, when you're in alignment, you start to get excited and things start to be fun. I love it you said that because I'm always saying that. It's like you get excited. So like last night when I was talking to her and in the other phone call, like, my heart beats faster and I get excited. And, I still haven't quite totally defined the journey, but I'm like, I feel like I know I'm with the right person. And Alisia may be your person, she may not, but I just hope that this has inspired you guys for, she's given you a lot of great tips and insight on that breakthrough and really trusting yourself. But right now, let's give us some specialty areas because I could say them, but I want you to. So if someone's considering writing a certain kind of book, tell me like what you guys really rock on. What type of publishing?
Yeah. So we specialize in memoir and self-help. So nonfiction, maybe at some point we'll get into fiction. I've done fiction, but right now this is sort of our jam.
Yeah.
And people can come to us at any point in the journey. So if they're starting from scratch, they can come to us for book coaching and editing. Maybe they've done a manuscript, but they need someone to look at it. Or, maybe they want to go all the way and they know they want to self-publish. They can, make the investment, they have the time, and they just want to work with a team. We do that for a lot of people too. We're with them from all the way from the first, word on the page through design, through launch and promotion. And they like that because it's contained and the whole team knows exactly who they are and what their mission is, and are very, very, familiar with the story because we're in it with that client.
Right.
So yeah, and also if people want to pitch an agent, we do book proposals, query letters. We help mentor people through that process. And we also, we do like one-off calls if people just want to get on the phone and just sort of, pick my brain, talk to me. I offer that as well. So we try to make it accessible for everybody wherever they're at.
I'm just wondering how you keep all that straight. I mean, I'm like, how do you, yeah, but I know you do, and you do it beautifully because you've been totally tuned into me, even though I know you have a client load. And she remembers things I tell her, which is like super important. You ever have the people you work with and like you get on the phone with them again and and I'm like, I just told you that last week. Anyway, she remembered everything I told her. And I appreciate that though, because then I know you're present, and if you forget things, not a big deal, but it's nice to know that someone's present. And so as you can tell, I mean, she has such a beautiful presence, and you can find her I know because I've watched her videos on Facebook, and you're also doing them on Instagram too. Or maybe I don't remember which one I saw you on, but
yeah,
she hops on and does like little like tips and techniques, and she takes questions, and she has sometimes some of her associates with her on the calls. And so, I mean, if you just want some free information and you're just curious and just, you never know when it's going to happen, just follow her on Facebook and Instagram. And do I cover everything? Are you shining anywhere else that I need to say?
Yeah, I'm also on Twitter and building out a Pinterest account coming soon with like pinnable writing tips and book tips and stuff like that. So
that's awesome. So creative and so smart. I want you guys to check her out if you're interested in writing her story, because you're going to follow me and the journey and us and the journey together as I'm doing mine. So I hope that it inspires you guys. Thank you so much. I've learned so much actually just listening to you today, and I just appreciate you sharing your wisdom. We had some technical difficulties before the show. You guys don't need to know about that, but thank you so much for your patience and grace with the interview.
I'm excited that we are like Leo twins, and we'll have to tell Danielle that we're all triplets now. So
that is so funny. I almost dropped the F-bomb, but I said F. I didn't say, although sometimes I think I did. Have I done that before? I think I've only said F. Anyway. It's part of my breakthrough year, and I mean, you guys that follow me know, like I love it's a part of using your voice, and like I have been like learning how to cuss this year and thinking it's hilarious because I just find so much power in it because I can.
You got to clear out that throat chakra.
Clear out the throat chakra. Yeah, so she knows all about chakras. So if you're into it, that's your girl. And I'm going to close, you guys, and I just thank Alisia so much for sharing her wisdom and her light with us. I'm just like so super excited about the journey ahead. And if you guys are going to be doing this journey, please leave comments on this video. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, go ask Alisia. I will say when I messaged her, she messaged me right back. She's super responsive. So just see if she's in alignment with you, you'll know. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off. Join us next time for the Dr. Karin Show. And remember, when you lead with your heart, you're always going the right direction. Bye, guys.